Editors, everything up till now was B-roll. Hi, everybody. Hey, everybody. Adam Savage here in my cave, and I've just primed the living crap out of something. And by primed the living crap out of something, what I mean is that I laid 5-6 cans of primer on this thing. You can probably guess what it is, but it'll show up in another video. But while I'm waiting for it to dry, I thought I could do a show and tell. Recently, I attended Silicon, the pop culture con that I throw in Silicon Valley here in Northern California. And somebody came up to my table and brought me a book to sign. Now, a lot of times people bring me my own book to sign, but they have brought me other books. They've brought me the Pocket Pal, a reference you've seen at the point of purchase at every hardware store you've been to, and it is worth having a Pocket Pal in your collection. However, there's a new sheriff in town. There's a new sheriff in town. What the person brought to my table to bring me was this, the Backstage Handbook, an illustrated almanac of technical information. Until this person showed me this book, I did not know it existed. I recognize that if you are a theater major, this was probably one of your textbooks, but I am new to this. And this is one of the hazards of the catch-as-catch learning system that I've been on since my teens, is that I figure stuff out and I often gain institutional knowledge without, like, I'll learn something, but I won't know what something is called. For instance, there is a type of clamp in theater called a cheese bro for joining two pipes together. But like, if you call a normal hardware store and say, I need a cheese bro, they're like, what are you talking about? You want cheese, bro? I have learned in my life that the children's tale of Rumpelstiltskin applies to makers in the extreme, which is to say, once you know the name of a thing, you can break its spell over you. It's really that. So as far as learning the names of things, there are several avenues. The Pocket Pal is absolutely one, although it is a bit light on illustrations. The McMaster card catalog, which I have talked about before, which is a masterpiece. If you can get your hands on a McMaster card catalog, you should. There's still a minimum amount you have to spend to get one for free, but McMaster Card was also one of the first people to put their whole catalog up online, and it is incredibly surfable, and it's a phenomenal thing. However, surfing online is not the same as being able to flip through the thing, and that's where this book, this little book, which was not that expensive, and it's still in print if I remember correctly, is an amazing reference. I was about to peel the sticker off just because I like peeling stickers off, but I could see I was going to have trouble with it, so I'll wait until after this video. Let's talk about what this has in it. An illustrated almanac of technical information. On the very first page, a plumb bob and Tremolo Points. Tremolo Points. If you came across these things at a garage sale, you might be like, I don't know what these are for. I certainly felt like that the first time I opened a drawer in George Coates Performance Works Theater and found a pair of these. But they're Tremolo Points. You clamp them to the end of any stick and draw a circle of any radius you want. 20-foot radius, you can do it with these. You just need a long enough stick. Even just that like on page 1, that they have given you the knowledge of what the hell Tremolo Points are. And just down here, a steel framing square versus a tri-square. Again, you call a hardware store and ask for something, they're only going to know it by one name unless you've got someone who's actually good at their job, which is hard in late stage capitalism. They tend to ferret those people out once they start to make too much. But where institutional knowledge of retailers fails, this book picks up. And so I think this was first printed. Wow. Wait. wait a second. Let's see here. (1988). So this existed when I started working professionally in theater in 1990, and I never knew about it. Just to get this book and spend an hour looking at these illustrations and just looking at what these things are called. Just looking at the illustrations, just that. Spending an hour with those and learning what those things are called is a tremendous leg up for a young maker and for one who's learned fairly. I thought of this when I was playing guitar with my niece, who is an incredible natural guitarist, because her father my brother-in-law is a natural musician, just one of those, he picks up an instrument and makes it work. And he's wonderful at it, and was doing it professionally by the time he was a middle teenager. And his daughter has the same skill set, and I call her a feral guitarist. She really liked that. It's like she learned in the wild. I am a feral maker. I have the benefit of no formal education. So when I come across something like this that tells me the correct names of so many things. Now, this book doesn't only just show you illustrations of types of gobo head clamps for C-stands and baby slide arms and apple boxes and brushes and things. It also includes hardware names about different types of threads and eye bolts. It includes a rudimentary introduction to thread pitches and sizes, anchor plates. Oh my goodness. Oh yeah, swivel bolt snap, swivel dog clip. Seriously. By the way, that's a swivel dog clip. It also includes conversion charts and length of circular arcs for unit radius, weights and measures. This is basically like a Pocket Pal, except the Pocket Pal is like every engineer up to and including like the lead of an engineering department for a big Fortune 500 company has a Pocket Pal somewhere because it's useful. But its utility to people at kind of every scale means that it's a little overwhelming for a brand newbie. And enter this. I have long made the joke that theater is the gateway drug to making. I've also made the joke that cardboard is the gateway drug to making, and both are true. But what I mean by theater is that theater is where I found a landscape where the threshold to entry was low enough that I could learn and I could point to something I was interested in. And by the end of the week, I was learning how to do it. In theater, you never have enough time and never have enough money, and you learn on the shoestring how to get it done from the stage. It is a tremendous skill set you can get from there. And the skill set I got from there set me on a great path for the rest of my life. And I had no idea that a handbook that embodied that kind of low threshold to entry with lots of useful information, I had no idea that it existed. And so, the author of this book, his name is not printed on the cover, Paul Douglas Carter. This is worth reading to you. Preface to the first and second editions by Paul Carter. The seeds for this book were planted about 8 years ago while I was working as a stagehand. I needed to know which pin of a standard stage plug was the hot pin and which was neutral. No one I asked was sure, so I went to look it up. I searched through several stagecraft books and was surprised to discover that this basic piece of information was nowhere to be found. On several other occasions, I had to look much too hard to find information which I thought would or should be readily available. For instance, what was the strength of 3/4 inch manila rope? How do you tie a sheet bend? How much does a sheet of 3/4 inch plywood weigh? Approximately 60 pounds. I eventually found what I needed, but it was usually in some highly specialized and expensive book of which only 3 or 4 pages were really useful to me. I started saving these scraps of information in a notebook, and that was the beginning of this book. He didn't want to write, said I didn't want to write a how-to book. I wanted to write a what is book. Damn, I love reference. Facts and figures only. This book is divided into 7 chapters: tools, hardware, materials, shop math, electrics, and architecture. It was impossible to find just the right chapter for all this information. For instance, what chapter do you put chain in? Tools, hardware, or materials? Should pulleys go with tools or rope? I've gone around and round with this. That's a strange noise. With the help of the index and trying to decipher my logic, I hope you will find everything you need. Mr. Carter, my hat is off to you. You have built an incredible reference manual. And even if you have no plans to work in theater, but you are thinking about making things in a physical manner in the way that I do here in the shop, you need this book. I cannot recommend it enough. We'll include a link to we will include a link to it in the instructions below. But I swear, I'm literally just going to keep this by my bedside. And every night I'm going to look up a little bit of the cinder block action, a little bit of architecture. Oh man, this is just so. Surveyor's measures, velocity of things, lampshades, non-grounded receptacles. Look at this. Yes. You have no idea, but there's like a million versions of 223. Yeah. Plug shapes, man. If you think nuts and bolts have a wide array at your disposal, plug shapes will blow your freaking mind. Oh, this is so great. Instrument notation. Okay, I'm going to put this away. I am so glad you joined me for this show and tell, because again, young makers, old makers alike, get a copy of this into your shop library. It is a fantastic reference tool. It's low threshold of entry. Honestly, a low threshold to entry always feels like a hug to me. The author wrote this with that express idea of like, you don't have to go to some specialized esoteric reference tome. It's all that you need in general is here. Yeah, I'm really excited about this. I literally, as I signed it, I like took a picture of it and told him, I'm ordering one of these. I'm going to do a show and tell about it. It's amazing. Thank you guys for joining me for this show and tell. Hey, if you know of other reference manuals that I should know about, I would love to hear about it in the comments. Thank you guys so much for joining me for this, and I will see you next time.
Hey guys, Adam Savage from Tested here. If you've ever seen the 6-inch ruler in inches and centimeters on my forearm and wanted one of your own, but you didn't want it to be permanent, well, today's your lucky day. You can now buy temporary tattoos of my measuring stick, my measuring forearm, at tested-store.com. Comes like this, goes on in about 30 seconds with a little water. The instructions are on the back. It comes off with rubbing alcohol, and hopefully it warms you up to the idea of permanently attaching a measuring device to your body, because I use mine every single day.